Hello, everyone. If you can hear something, it's Bezzy, the dog. She's decided to come in and join me, and she's rummaging around on the floor. Anyway, hello. This is a very quick, very impromptu little chat that will be part of a blog that I'm going to write. And I cannot take credit for this. This was a recipe that was given to me by a very good friend who got it from her very good friend, and was given it because she's got some bone issues and some health issues, and her friend, I believe, is a naturopath or something in that line. And she suggested, because my friend doesn't drink or eat a lot of dairy products, that it would be useful to have something that contained quite a bit of calcium. And she listed off the usual things, which nuts, seeds, green leafy vegetables contain some. But believe it or not, there are two things that actually contain quite a bit of calcium. One of them is molasses. And molasses basically can be from sugar, sugar cane, sugar beet, dates, pomegranates. So all of them will have their own magical properties, depending on what plant they've come from. This one, I believe, is just from sugar cane. Yep, from sugar cane. And the darker, the better. First pressings, or whatever they do to get the sugar out, sugar crystals out, the more they press to get the crystals out, the more you're left with the sticky residue. So actually it's the blackstrap molasses, if you can get them, that have actually got the highest concentrates of vitamins and minerals in them. And the other thing that I was quite surprised at was sesame seeds and tahini, obviously, because tahini is basically pulped, unhulled sesame seeds, or that's what this one is. I believe you can get the hulled, which is a paler colour, but I went for the unhulled. I've now got through several jars of this. It is rather addictive, especially for somebody like me that actually hasn't got an extremely sweet tooth. If you were to put a box of chocolates and a box of nuts in front of me, I would go for the nuts. I haven't got an extremely sweet tooth. But this has just got the right amount of sweetness with the savoury, because you've got the sweetness from the molasses, which also has, it's not sweet, it's got that bite to it. That's just the molasses. And then, of course, you've got the tahini, which is sesame. So just to give you a little bit of a thing from Rachel's book, obviously, A Kitchen Witch's World of Magical Food. So sugar, so just sugar in itself, so that does sugar cane sugar, makes life sweet. So very good to use in witches' bottles, medicine pouches, sachets. That's the dried stuff, obviously. But can be used for love and protection. Ruling planet is Venus, element is water, gender is feminine. And then you get to sesame. And this is, I was quite intrigued with sesame. We've all heard it, open sesame, from the Arabian Nights. Now that, apparently, when I did a little bit of poking around, actually comes from the seed pods, because when they are ripe and ready, they burst with quite a force to send the seeds out. So that was quite interesting. So yeah, open sesame means with that force. So yeah, sacred to the Hindu god Ganesha, also used for Hecate, energy. One of the things I did find out was that originally sesame was grown primarily in Africa, but then was introduced to India at some stage in the well-distant ancient past, and they used it virtually all the time. Sesame oil was the oil of choice, because of its low, goes off very slowly, so its rancidity is very low. So it could be kept for months, years, without it going off. So it was used up until the advent of groundnut peanut oil being more cheaply and readily available. And now that's taken over to a certain extent, but it's still used. Sesame oil is still used a lot in Indian foods. It's used for a lot of Hindu celebrations because they actually use the oil in lamps specifically to honour those particular gods at that particular time of year. What else did I find out? No, I think that was about it. Anyway, so where are we? Sesame. So can be used for magical properties are for prosperity, protection, energy, strength, secrets. So that's from the book. Now in the book, Rachel hasn't actually mentioned molasses. So I'm going to be slightly naughty and just say it's thick, it's sticky. Use your imaginations as to what you can use it for. But basically anything to do with love, friendship, I'd say lust as well. But yeah, the world is your oyster. As you know, hold a jar and think what comes to you as you are holding it. Or try some tasting some on your tongue. Just let it sit there and ask, what properties are you going to give me? It's always useful to find out your own. Now, coming back to this recipe, super simple. So simple, it's unbelievable. So when you first get your jar of tahini, for any of you that have opened it, I've got molasses all over my hand. So it will have settled because of where it's been sitting in transport and shops and what have you. So you need to mix it because you will get a layer of oil at the top. So you do need to get a spoon in and you need to mix it before you start ladling any out. And you need a clean jar, a separate clean jar. I find this easier to do in the jar, but you could do it in a pourable jug with a hand mixer. I did try that. There was too much stuck on the hand mixer for me. Getting it all off, and I just felt as though I wasted quite a bit, so I haven't bothered with that one again. And basically what you're going to need, I can't figure out where that's got, but anyway, you're going to need equal amounts of the tahini and the molasses. That's as simple. You can't get any simpler. How much is up to you, but it's equal amounts of each of them. And because I do this in a jar, I tend to do about a third-ish of tahini and another third up for the molasses. You can see that the molasses have sunk into the tahini. And then you just mix. That is it, really, honestly. Because I've done this several times, if I don't think it's got enough molasses in, then I will add a little bit more. I think this is going to look about right, to be honest. So yeah, I will just keep mixing it. And whilst I'm mixing it, I will think of my intent. So my intent is that this is going to help me with my health. And it's also going to bring happiness and sweetness into my life. And that's it. That's the spell. So simple. And very, very tasty because you can have it. So I have discovered that you can have it literally out of the jar on a spoon. The first jar you do, if you're anything like me, that's how a lot of it went. It's very nice on toast. It is amazing mixed into hot porridge. But you could probably do that on rice. If you have a pudding of rice, you could probably put a spoonful on that as well. I'm just a porridge fiend, so I just, let's try this. Oh, yes. So yeah, on hot porridge, but toast, in a sandwich. Because it has that sweet and savoury sort of kick to it, you could actually put it in a sandwich of anything. It would be very nice with cheese, I think. Possibly with ham, maybe, because of that sweet. Yeah, because you get honey glazed ham. So yeah, but yeah, play around, discover how you like to eat it. But yeah, I hope this was enjoyable and that you like this simple thing. Thank you to my friend and to her friend for introducing me to this. And yeah, I will see you again at some stage when I'm mucking around doing something else.